back with a restart, switching over to an any percent run instead, which is about 20 minutes shorter or so. Once Laurie gets all set up here, but I will hand it back to you. All right, take it away.
All right, so now I'm good.
Yeah, you're all set.
All right, so welcome to Splatoon. For the first, sorry about what just happened. OBS is great. I'm just gonna get into the game again and pretend nothing happened. So we'll begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So Splatoon is a third-person shooter where you shoot ink, and you're half squid, half kid, and it's pretty fun. One thing to keep in mind is the camera and the shots. So the camera in this game you can control with both the right stick and the motion controls, because this is being played with the Wii U gamepad. It's pretty good control camera, actually. And the other thing to keep in mind is there's a neat little thing called shot RNG in this game, which is not neat at all. When you fire your gun, there's like a range of places that the ink can splatter, and that can lead to not fun things, because you'll be trying to shoot something and your gun will just say no. So, any percent involves beating the game as fast as possible. However, a lot of people will associate this game with its online mode. How does that work exactly? This game has a single-player campaign, so the online mode is not touched at all in this run, outside of this tutorial that we're forced to do that's going to go over all the features of Inkopolis Plaza. Hell, in fact, I intentionally turned off the internet on my Wii U, because this cutscene we're about to go into with the Squid Sisters would usually have, would talk about the stages that are currently going on online, but since I'm not online, they can't access stage data, so they're just going to go straight to the story cutscene that plays at the beginning of the game. We have a bit of a cutscene here where we're going to get introduced to Inkopolis. I just kind of mentioned this, and they're going to really push you to go into that big tower. We're not going to go in there. So this game has a neat little thing where it is compatible to an extent with the gamepad touchscreen on the Wii U. So I'm going to be able to, as soon as this cutscene is over, which is going to be in like 4 text boxes from now, I'm going to be able to just click on Octo Valley on the gamepad map, which is where the single player takes place, and we're going to go straight into another cutscene with Captain Cuttlefish. Basic story of this game is that Octarians are coming back. There was a war a while ago with the Octarians and the Inklings. The Inklings won, but the Octarians are trying again, and they stole a major power source of Inkopolis, which was the Great Zapfish. So we have to go and get a bunch of normal Zapfish to get the Great Zapfish back. As soon as this area ends, we're going to get into gameplay. And level structure-wise, this game is actually a lot like Mario Galaxy, is a funny little comparison. You have these collection of hub worlds, and in the collection of hub worlds, you have some levels and a boss level. And in each level, what the goal is to get to the end of the level, and you have these small bits of land, and you have to do things on them to get launch pads, and you have to jump from part of level to part of level, or planet to planet, rather, using the launch pads. So, yeah, a lot like Mario Galaxy. Unlike Mario Galaxy, though, it's not quite as creative. A lot of the things you do just involve kind of killing enemies. And there are a lot of different types of enemies, or Octarians, in this game. A major thing you can do with Octarians is that you can throw a bomb, and they will react to the bomb. It's really cool enemy AI, actually. So, like, these shield guys, for example, will turn around and face the bomb so that their shield will block the bomb. And then we can just shoot their backs because they're too busy with that bomb. There are little collectibles called scrolls you can get in each level of this game, but this is any %, so we don't have to worry about those because they're not required for completing the game. The only thing required for completing the game is getting every Zapfish in a world will unlock the boss level, and then eventually you will just get to the last world, and one of those bosses you fight will be the final boss. That's not exactly like Mario Galaxy, where it's just a star counter, kind of like every other 3D Mario, but, you know, this game has to have some originality. But this game is definitely original. Its aesthetic is great. So, there are keys in this game, too. You saw I picked up a key there. So, at the end of each level, it's good to have a good amount of ink, because this game has sub-weapons, which are bombs. And any bomb type, we only have the Splat Bomb right now, but there's 2 others we're going to get throughout the course. Any bomb type instantly blow up the tank that the Zapfish is in at the end of the level. So, it's good to throw bombs. Right now, the current bombs we have, it takes over like half our ink tank to throw one, but we're going to get a bomb later in the run that's like a lot cheaper. It's only 1/3 of our ink tank, so that one's pretty good. Overall, we're gonna buy both of the available bomb types that we don't start with in the run, and pretty early in. By the end of World 2, we'll have both bomb types. But that actually leads me to the currency in this game. You can see those little like salmon eggs at the top right of the screen. I want to have 100 of those by the end of this level. And there's a neat little thing I can do to get 10 right at the end of this level, as long as a really hard trick at the end of this level that I kind of want to make sure I get. There are little collectibles you can get. I mentioned the scrolls that aren't required, but there's also some armor in this game. So the way that this game works is that if you get hit with enough enemy ink, you'll die. And that thing at the top left is actually my life counter. If that runs down to 0, I have to start the whole level over, and I do get 1 life back every time I hit a checkpoint, which is that thing right in front of the launch pad that I just skipped. That was a nice bomb placement. So, but the armor right now I have, not only will death result in just an armor piece loss, which you can have up to 3 armor pieces on at the same time, but if you have armor on at the end of the stage, you get bonus salmon eggs for it. And so right now I already have 95. If I keep this armor at the end of the stage, I'll get an extra 10, which is a really good amount to have. For now, I'm doing a trick called Cannonless, which is really difficult. So I'm trying to make it work, and I've essentially made it work at this point. It was not that bad. Basically, with Cannonless, what the goal is you saw me the way that I climbed up that wall. What you're supposed to do is go to this hidden area where there's a cannon and use a cannon to try and go up the whole wall, but it's faster to not use that cannon, despite how I didn't do it great, so it might not have looked faster. Don't worry about it, it's fine. So before I start this next level, I'm going to go into this menu and buy Seekers. Seekers are like the best bomb type in the run, which you will see very early on in this first stage that I'm using them. So Seekers are bombs that usually you lock onto enemies with them, and then they'll chase that enemy. However, there's an even better use for it, and that is if you do not lock onto an enemy and throw a Seeker, as you saw there, you can just kind of have the bomb moving straight forward, and there's a trail of ink spawning from behind it. So now one of the best moves in this game, since I haven't gone into squid mechanics, but basically your ammo is your ink, and you get ink back by swimming in your own ink. And when you swim and you're a squid, you move a lot faster than you can through any other form of movement. So the Seeker just spawns a trail of ink that is just a straight line. So it's perfect, because you can literally just place one and then swim behind it, and you get to swim straight forward without having to get out of your ink in order to spray more ink. The downside to that is that it can't turn, and it will also explode into a wall if it makes contact with a wall, which can sometimes be advantageous if you're trying to climb it, but for the most part, you're trying to use this thing for, the forward movement, so it's not always great to hit a wall. So it's a good part of the precision in this run is making sure that your Seeker placement is like spot on, so that you can use as much of it as possible, because it is by far the highest ink consumption of any bomb. So you really have to be careful, because if you mess a Seeker throw up, you have to get a lot of ink just to try another Seeker throw. And coming up, we're going to have our first boss. The bosses in this game are not very interesting, unfortunately. And there's always a lot of cutscenes surrounding them. So, like, this first one we have is Octostomp. He is a giant cube. So, after this cutscene happens, you're going to see a pretty basic boss fight, although there is one glitch to get into during this, and that's going to be called the rapid fire glitch. So I mentioned shot RNG earlier in the run, and every weapon kind of has a fire rate to go with it. For the sake of fire rates, though, for some reason in this game, in this mode, spamming between the sub-weapons you have, you can see once I bought the Seeker at the bottom left, I have a little D-pad selector for my weapons. Constantly spamming between them will kind of reset the fire rate. So it's not something that works on online, because on online mode, you don't have multiple sub-weapons. But it does make killing bosses faster because you can hit the tentacle, or rather its weak point, in order to deal damage to it faster than normal. It'll become a lot easier in World 2 once we buy the last type of bomb that I don't have yet, because then we'll have more bombs to spam on the D-pad, and therefore shots will reset even quicker. But it's still faster to do on that Octostomp boss there. I'm going to try and go around the scroll, because every time you collect a scroll in a level, there's a little cutscene that shows off what's in the scroll, and that's slow. So even though boss scrolls are free, you do want to actively avoid them in any percent. Which this is any percent, because of the whole everything. I have to keep that in mind. Part of my brain still wants to collect the scrolls, but I can't be doing that. Alright, so now we're going to move into World 2. This is going to be our first, like, big world. Starting now, every world, instead of having 3 levels in a boss, will have 6 levels in a boss, so there's a lot more to get done. Routing the overworld is going to be very important throughout this run. So, you know, choosing what levels I go to when. For the most part, sub-weapon doesn't matter, because as I've mentioned multiple times, the last sub-weapon that I don't have yet, I'm going to be buying, like, ASAP in this world. So, it's really just a matter of what you can do. And there's something pretty cool that's going to be showing up later in this world, but I'm going to talk about it now just so, like, I can get the mechanic in, is that if you recall when I was first going to Octo Valley, I used the gamepad touchscreen to instantly warp there. As soon as you open a level, not even beat it, but as soon as you open a level kettle on the overworld, which you can do by just spraying the level with enough ink, you can jump to that level from the touchscreen at any time. So that is going to be very helpful in routing, because it will stop us from having to make a lot of, like, loop-de-loops. And it will also allow us to just kind of get to a lot of out-of-the-way levels and then go back, like, on a specific path, which is something that you'll see in World 3, for example. Spoiling the run a little bit. Here I'm going to try and do a tricky jump. Every Octo... that's not an Octoling. Every Octo Trooper that doesn't die to that balloon burst at the end of the stage tries to shoot me. And if I get hit by a bullet in midair, it will change my momentum, because that's just how physics works. So I don't want to. So this level right here, I'm going to unlock it and then not go into it, because that level is like one of the major reasons we want that last bomb type that I don't have yet. And I don't have enough money for it. As you can see, I have 69 eggs, which is nice. I need 100 though, so not nice. Okay. So here, I'm going to throw a bomb to get all these enemies active, and then I'm going to start shooting. I kind of messed up a little bit, but I didn't mess up to the point of dying, so good. So this mechanic right here, these are gushers, is what they're called. And they do not explode in your mouth, sadly. However, they are pretty good for gaining height. One major thing about gushers, though, is that, as you can see here, by the fact that I just accidentally did that, if you shoot... Okay, I went the wrong way. That's interesting. If you shoot a gusher and then jump into it, you can't move at all while it's rising up. However, if you are on top of a gusher and then shoot it, you can move well in the gusher, and that will save a little bit of time each time you use a gusher. I didn't really do a good job of showing it off there, but it's faster. And coming up, we have a strategy that I haven't really practiced, so let's hope I get it, because it looks really cool. Coming up, we have our first Octoling level. So the playable character in this game is an Inkling. There are Octolings. The enemies are Octarians, there are Octolings. They are kind of like anti-Inklings. So there's a strategy on this level, because Inklings and Octolings actually share a little bit of similar, like, code to them. Is this you? So I'm going to take this special weapon, this Inkzuka, and I'm going to try to shoot that Zapfish right there. Oh, I didn't mess it up. Okay, it's just... it happened a little bit later than I expected to. So the way that they made Octolings work is that they have the same properties as Inklings, but they're just AI controlled, kinda, instead of being, you know, controlled by the player, obviously. So one thing that they have in terms of those properties is actually that they can collect Zapfish. That doesn't seem like it would be helpful. However, that level ended kind of prematurely, you might have noticed. So as long as a Zapfish tank is open, which is only open for a limited amount of time after you shoot it, the Zapfish is considered collectible. And in that level, there's an Octoling that spawns, and it's super jump path, so, you know, it's chilling out of bounds for a little bit, and then it jumps into the playable area zone. Its jump path goes through the Zapfish. So what I did there was I used the Inkzuka to open the Zapfish from super far away, and then I spawned in that Octoling and collected the Zapfish with that Octoling. And throughout that whole level, describing that one trick that isn't going to appear ever again, I didn't describe this thing at all. This is an Octo Striker. It can summon these really big ink that are called Ink Strikes. They're a special that are actually usable in the online, and it's a really good special. Yeah, it's basically just a giant ink missile. What's not to love about it? However, at the end of each level, after having to avoid the Ink Strikes, you have to fight the Octo Strike. And there's a major strategy when it comes to fighting the Octo Striker, where it will also get scared by bombs. And speaking of bombs, I'm going to buy the last bomb type, the Burst Bomb, right now. It will get scared by bombs. So usually what you try and do is you try and throw a bomb behind it so that it gets scared of the bomb and starts flying towards you, and you can just super easily lay into the boss because it's too busy being scared of the bomb to be scared of you. Kind of AI manipulation. You can do that with a bunch of enemies, and that mini-boss is no exception for some reason. So coming into this level, the main thing is I have to shoot these propellers to make platforms move. And so there's going to be some situations where I don't want to shoot the propeller too much, because otherwise I will need to wait for a platform to move back. There's going to be a situation at the end of the stage kind of like that. On top of that, we have burst bombs, which are great. They take the least amount of ink out of any 3 bomb, taking only 1/3 of your ink tank, meaning that they're also the only bomb that can be used more than once on a single ink tank. And on top of that, they also explode directly on impact instead of other bombs that... well, Seekers also explode directly on impact, but they kind of follow a path before doing that. Burst bombs get thrown like splat bombs, but instead of having a detonation timer, they just kind of explode as soon as they hit something, which is pretty good for a lot of things like these propellers, and also for the next stage mechanic that I'm about to get into. once I'm done with the stage, which I will be done with the stage once I open up the Zapfish container, because I just threw a bomb over it. Oh boy. So that level I unlocked earlier, but didn't go into, I'm going to use the touchscreen, which a cool little visual cue is that levels that you haven't finished on the touch are a different color on the touchscreen compared to levels that you have finished. So, neat. So these sponges, you shoot them, and they inflate with your ink, and you can climb them, you can hide in them, all that good stuff. You can get your ink back in them. If you direct hit a burst bomb on a sponge, the sponge will instantly get to its max inflation level. So that's one of the major reasons why we didn't do this level immediately when we unlocked it, is because we didn't have enough money for burst bombs. Bombs are stupid useful. Because the only other option would be like to waste all your ink on Seekers, which Seekers can't really go in the air. Or wait for a splat bomb to detonate, which isn't good, especially when there are mid-air sponges. So, there we go. I had all those octo balls right there kind of just die by me jumping past them, and they can't turn around, so they just kind of had to roll into the pit over there. A little bit faster than having to fight them, because they're pretty annoying enemies. So, like, right here, for example, is a perfect example of what makes the burst bombs, like, irreplaceable for sponges, is, well, my life is not there anymore. So you can throw them. They can hit stuff very quickly, and they have a lot of good effects. So this last part can be really hard if you go for range strats, as you saw me do and fail and then succeed. But like right here, I'm going to try and throw these bombs in midair, and then run out of ink, so I can't do that. There we go. This is a really scary stage. So this is one of like the biggest reset points in the early game for this run. And it's right at the end of the world too, which is kind of annoying. But now we're gonna get into the next boss fight. So we're making good progress. But this next boss fight doesn't have a lot going on, so... This is Octo Nozzle. Also, one thing I should mention, I guess, is that ink colors, there are a bunch of different ink colors you can see. They're not random. Online, they are. There's like a bunch of different preset combinations of ink colors that you'll see online, with one team being one color and one team being the other. However, in the single-player mode, levels have like a specific ink color to them. So, like, every boss fight has this, like, orange versus purple ink thing going on, and that last level where I was blue ink and the enemy blue ink, it's always like that. This game is really good aesthetics, though, so, like, I don't mind that too much, but it's just a fun little fact. Colors aren't random in this mode. I think every pair of colors in this game was actually made to be colorblind friendly, as a little fun fact. I'm not personally colorblind, but, like, that's cool. And one thing I should be doing that I haven't been, and that is that on this boss, before I start to climb up to try and hit the tentacle, I should be throwing a splat bomb at the tentacle. Saves a tiny bit of time on each cycle, and I just kind of now remembered about that. See if I can do it here. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, the tentacle is already a little bit bloated. So there we go, that's Octo Nozzle. You can see his shoes. Please don't miss. Okay. I missed. Also, the gamepad will show as soon as I gain control of my character after a boss dies, so that's how I know when to start moving, because it is before you can see the screen. So that's it for World 2. And we're gonna go on to World 3. I didn't get to put my water down in time. It's fine. I'm gonna throw a Seeker here during this intro cutscene. Move all the way over to the wall I want it to. Small optimization. Seekers can move during cutscenes like this one. You see me in every boss fight throw a Seeker as soon as I get down there, so I can just kind of immediately swim to where I need to go. It's nice. And there's nothing that Seekers can lock onto in the home world, so it's all just a matter of throwing your Seeker correctly, and it'll go exactly where you want it to go. So this is one of my favorite levels in the run, actually, Inkrail Skyscape, because we've seen Inkrails a little bit throughout this run, and this level is all about just doing really cool stuff with them. There's a really hard strat I can go for around here, and I'm going to go for it because it doesn't really cost anything to at least attempt it. So, like, why would I not? If I go for this, I ideally, although I can tell I didn't, yeah, that Octarian, that Octotrooper ideally dies to that, that bomb I threw before going on the platform. Please, please, thank you. Okay, don't fall. Thank you. So, I'm about to get an Inkzuka here, which is a special I saw earlier, except I'm going to use it for combat. I can hopefully hit that guy with a Seeker before I get the Inkzuka, and then just one-shot every enemy on this part with the Inkzuka. That was just about perfect. People in chat have work? Haha, lame. I'm still in school. I guess, seeing what I just did in that area, I could have talked a little bit about the downside of the burst bombs, because I mentioned they were cool. The major downside of the burst bomb is that between splat bombs, Seekers, and burst bombs, they're the only bombs that don't instantly kill an enemy when they explode on an enemy. So they're, damage-wise, the weakest of the three bombs. And coming up, we're going to come to one of the scariest stages in the game. So these flutters, these giant things you see here that just destroy the area in front that's under them, they are invincible, and they kill you incredibly quickly. And due to the nature of this level, usually the fastest thing you can do is kind of, you know, you have to get up close and personal with them sometimes. So I'm going to go through here. I need to get a key that's up here, so I'm going to try... If my ink management is perfect here, I'll usually have just enough to throw another Seeker, which it was. Great. And I'm going to try and get a burst bomb so I can throw it right about here. I didn't do that right. I want to jump from this corner to the platform that I used the key on, which I did. So, not all bad. Please shoot the ground. And here I need to find an enemy on the gamepad. So there's an enemy that has a key here that I need to get to the level, and it has a few different movement patterns. I can use the gamepad to figure out which movement pattern it's on, and then use that to get to the end of the level. I had one there that wasn't really... Like, I had a movement pattern that I didn't really go for properly, however there was a flutter way. And that's the thing, is that when the flutters aren't attacking you directly, the pattern in which they move is somewhat luck-based, so you have to hope that both the enemy pattern you get and the flutter movement all lines up to get through there quickly. And now I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to do some pretty funny thing before I do this, is I'm going to open this level, and then before I enter it, I'm going to throw 2 bombs over here. And there we go. So I unlocked the level and then jumped into this next level. So I can super jump to that level later now. This is our second Octoling level, and in Octoling levels and Octo Striker levels from now on, I'll be able to just skip cutscenes. Because I've already seen them once, so the game is like, yeah, no, you don't have to... This one's ending can be pretty tricky if I don't get that secret throw correctly. Fortunately, I did, but even though you saw I did, it was still a little bit of a challenge, because the Octolings there are very difficult. It's not an easy stage, but it's a pretty cool strat. And now I'm going to go for another pretty cool strat here. Speaking of Octo Strikers, the next one in this world is all the way down. So in Worlds 2 to the end, which this game has 5 worlds, there's an Octoling and an Octo Striker level in every single world. So you're going to be seeing these many times throughout the run. 3 times to be exact. So I'm going to move through here, and I'm going to go for this strat. I'm going to jump on these boxes, try and land on this thing, and then go up from here, just like that. Perfect. That's a really good strat, because not only does it save, like, movement, but the movement that it saves is on Grate. And Grates are a platform that you cannot spray ink on, and therefore you cannot swim in squid mode on. If you squid mode on the ground, it's slower than walking, and it is... You also fall through Grates, so you die if you tried to squid on them. But it's also slower than spraying the ground with ink and then moving. So it's really good to get that box jump strat, because otherwise you have to walk around this really slow way, and you'll probably get hit with a giant ink mist, which is death, and that's not cool. So we're going to move into Shifting Platforms, which is a very cycle-based level. That's the whole gimmick of the level, is that, hey, these platforms are moving back and forth. So it's a level that it's imperative I do well, otherwise I'll have to deal with a not good platform cycle. Okay, I'm doing alright so far. Okay, nope. I just tossed my cycle into the dust, I think. Well, we'll see. Alright, well, I still made it there. Okay, I really tried on that one there. We'll see if I can still do this. Nice, okay, we take those. Just one more part of this level here. You try and go up. Oh, hey, how'd you shoot that wall from there? Hello, game? Okay, I'm messing up right here. Okay, we're fine. I'm up here. That's all that matters. I'm at the end of the level. Good. Good enough, at least. Coming up, we have another level that is not really cycle-based, but, like, can go horribly wrong if you mess one thing up, because it is none other than the level that requires you to know where invisible paths are. So that's the whole gimmick of this level, Invisible Avenue. There are invisible paths that to go. Fortunately, I've played this game enough to where I know where each invisible path is, so, like, it's not that much of a problem. But this definitely is a level, as I said, that if you do one thing wrong, it will spiral downhill incredibly quickly. Okay, so that's where the scroll is for this level. Fun fact. Good thing I knew where that platform was to save myself with. That's one of my favorite moments in the game, is that on the wall there, and the game presents you with that little area, and there's a hole in the wall somewhere. Good luck. Casually, the hole in the wall was in the very last, like, inch of the wall that I checked, so that's cool. Fortunately, it doesn't move because it's a wall. I'm good now. This whole floor is invisible. They present you with a fully invisible wall floor, so you have to know what that floor is. And I almost didn't. Also, one thing to mention is that every time I'm swimming up the wall, I am holding, or I'm not holding, but it's not really mashing either, but like I'm rhythmically tapping the X button, which in this game is the jump button. And that is helping me climb a little bit faster. That's not like an exploit, that's like a mechanic the game teaches you, that if you mash X while climbing, you climb faster. Also, this is like Nintendo button layout, so X is the top button on the set of face buttons. It's great. Okay, I need to hit this ink rail with the burst bomb so I can go up to the boss. Which this boss, okay, so like if the previous two bosses that I fought in this run weren't auto-scrollers, this one is. This is Octowhirl, and he is... Those ball enemies that we've been facing, where the goal has been to bury them in ink and then just kill them while they're stuck in the ink, Octowhirl is just a giant one of those. So, there's not too much to say, you just kind of have to wait for him to charge at you, and then get enough ink in his charge path to where it messes you up, or it messes him up. And once he gets messed up enough, his tentacle becomes available to shoot. So it's a pretty easy boss, not a lot to say here. Just one more phase. Alright. So, that's the end of World 3. Now I'm gonna quiz you guys. Little pop quiz. There's been a little bit of a contradiction in the things that I have said, and two statements I have said throughout this run. I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds in chat to see if you paid attention to it. I doubt you have. But if you have, I'm gonna be very impressed. So. Nope, this is still Splatoon. It's not one statement, it's two statements that haven't added up. That is the contradiction. Or rather, two statements that contradict each other. And it's not the bombs. That's a good guess, though, I guess. Because there are actually bombs that do not... Okay, I'm back here. There are actually bombs that do not appear in the single player. There's the suction bomb, which is a type of bomb that sticks to surfaces like walls and ceilings. It's a pretty good bomb, actually. But no. It's too... Okay, yeah, no, this is why I'm not surprised, because it's not like a major thing. I mentioned level types earlier, I mentioned that from World 2, I mentioned that there are 5 worlds in this game, and from every World 2 and onwards, there's going to be an Octoling and an Octo Striker level. However, I said that we only be doing 3 of those. The reason why we're not doing 4, although there are 4 worlds that they're available in, is because this world's barrier to unlock the next world works a little bit differently. As you can see, there's no ink rail in this barrier. In this barrier is literally just a block. There's a few pixels outside the barrier. As you saw there for a little bit, I'm actually able to move around in, and it's very hard but possible to reach the block behind the barrier and skip World 4 entirely. Obviously called World 4 skip, it saves well over 10 minutes in this run. Even if it takes you like a bunch of tries, it still saves time. As you can see, I'm not doing great at it right now. Because it's insanely precise. And something that doesn't help is the motion controls. But there, I got it. I just need to not fall off before unlocking the next level. Which I've never done before. And I can't really at this point. So yeah, that's gonna be World 4 skip. I actually am in World 5 right now. So I'm gonna throw over there some bombs, and that will unlock this level. So yeah, that's the end of World 4 skip. Now that I have a level in World 5 unlocked, there's no more danger about World 4. It's gone. So that was found really early into this game's lifespan, and it kind of immediately, you know, changed up this game's speedrun forever. Namely because 1, it saves over 10 minutes, and 2, it made all scrolls a more viable category. Because all scrolls in this game, you need to beat a level in order to keep the scroll. So you do actually have to beat World 5 in the All Scrolls or beat World 4 in the All Scrolls category. So it made itself very distinct very quickly thanks to World 4 skip. And it also cut out a world with a lot of annoying levels in any percent. So we take those. So this level that we're in right now in World 5, oh, okay, that's bad. Similar to that one level in 3 is very cycle-based. So everything I do in this level, I want to do before it's too late. And I am messing up the cycles due to that. So that's not good. As you can see now, this platform is going to run away from me. Here, cycles. I'm just going to go around on this platform because it's fun. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. That was not good. Fortunately, this one is on pretty far into its cycle, so I can at least make this one look fast. The Zapfish is right. So as soon as I just jump up here, throw a bomb, we're done with the first level of World 5. So World 5 has a very scattered level design, so I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff just to get to the next level. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to unlock this level and then jump down here. So this is going to be the last of the Octoling levels in this run. On Salt Spray Rig, which I believe is one of the... okay. Which is one of the 2 levels that was available in the Global Test Fire, which was like a weekend well before this game was released where you could play it for the first time. It was a new Nintendo IP, so it was kind of exciting, you know? I'd like to collect the Zapfish. So that's the end of that level. And coming up next is going to be the last Octo Striker level of the run. I guess it's kind of funny of a coincidence that in this run, every Octo Striker level and every Octoling level are right next to each other. I think in World 4's level routing, it's not like that. But in any percent of these 3 worlds, it is. And the level routing for all scrolls, the only thing that changes is World 4. You actually have to do it. So, like, you know, there's a level route for that. Okay, so I got the checkpoint that's up on the middle thing, but I didn't collect the thing. I need the key that's up on the middle thing. To open this vault and get into the last of the Octo Striker fights. This one's pretty basic of an arena, which is funny, because the World 4 Octo Striker arena is, like, actual torture. So, the World 5 one, being kind of simple, is... I mean, it's accepted. Again, I'm very glad that World 4 is the world out of all of them that skipped, because that one easily has, like, the most annoying levels in the game. So, now we're gonna go up here. Okay, are we? The game kind of didn't want me to. I am going to unlock this level from very far away. That should work. Yeah, I see the game saved icon in the bottom left appear, and I can double check on the gamepad that, yep, that level was indeed unlocked. So that's going to be very important, because, you know, we can get to that level at any time now. We're going to save that one for last, personally, but, like, you know, unlocking the level is the major part of the battle. So, the gist of this level is that there are these sections where you're being chased by flutters, and then you get the ability to go on top of the flutters, and it's pretty neat, actually. It's also pretty short, too. It's pretty scary, also, because it's flutters still, and they're still very, very, very scary. Some of the jumps in this game are very nerve-wracking, I agree with that. However, this game's, like, physics in terms of its jumping are actually pretty good, so a lot of them are a lot scarier than they look. So, we can see the big guy in the back there, the Octo Sniper. That's the guy with the key that I need to finish the stage. So that's that last Flutter stage. So we only have 2 more stages before the final boss. One thing you might be noticing is that, hey, we're close. If we're close to the final boss, why is the estimate so long? This game's final boss is like 10 minutes. So I'm not as far under estimate as you think I am. I don't even know how I'm doing compared to the estimate right now. I'm not looking at a timer at all, so I can't tell you. Okay. Oh, I'm alive. Hi. Oh, you're still alive. You're no longer alive. That's the strat that I want to do, is I want him to just fall, because it looks funny, and it also is fast, and I'm also out of ink! Okay. Nothing happened. This is one of my favorite parts of any level in the run, if I do it right. Wow, would you look at that? I did it right. I'm gonna do another pretty specific jump. Okay, I need to hit that balloon, and then I'm gonna... It's one thing I like about this game, is actually how there's a lot of attention to detail what a platform is in the game. That sponge is not up all the way, so I wouldn't be able to climb the wall with it. We're good. We're good. Okay, good. You can tell this is a very scary level. And I meant to pick up a Inkzuka right here, but I forgot about it. So I'm just gonna kill these guys the normal way. If I do it fast, it doesn't matter. Okay, well, I died. That's not fast. I'm gonna pick this thing up this way. See, even with the Inkzuka, I mess it up every now and then. But that's gonna be the end of that stage. And we're gonna move on to the last stage before the final boss. So, hype, I guess. I'm gonna jump all the way over to that stage we unlocked earlier, which is Splat Switch, which is a pretty cool stage, and is yet another stage where burst bombs are like a lifesaver. I didn't get to show it off there, but like the instant contact against walls being an explosion means that we can activate a lot of these switches almost easily, or like almost instantly rather. And here I'm going to grab the Inkzuka because there's a strat later in the level that uses an Inkzuka. And I'm going to be honest, I don't remember where it is. It's fine. I didn't need to say that. I died, though. Let's talk about that. I'm dead. So, yeah. Let's do that better this time. So much better. I almost died. Okay, I'm completely out of ink right now? That's not cool. Okay, there we go. I think right here is where I use the Inkzuka. That went well. Yeah, I'd say that's where it goes. So this part of the level is really cool. There's going to be a platform. I forgot to hit the switch that's on this block. That'll lower this here. And I'm going to do a little bit of a faster thing here. Instead of making the block rotate, I'm just going to hit that thing on the side of this platform. Then there's a strat that I'm not going to go for. So once I kill the enemies here, these flutters are going to rise up. There's actually a strategy where if the flutters move correctly, you can skip this super jump panel and just go straight to the Zapfish. It's a very hard jump to make. And the bubbler that is hidden under one of those platforms lets you get the key really easily. So it's not even too much faster. It is faster, but it's very risky and not even too much faster because you're still able to get the key quickly. Top runners probably go for it. I don't know. I've seen Hydrus in chat, and I'm pretty sure Hydrus has world record at least one category. So, I don't know. You tell me about that, because I don't go for it. So this is the final boss. We're gonna move up here, and we're going to see the Great Zapfish, which we've been looking for the whole game. Oh, it's not even possible. Great. So, this is DJ Octavio, the leader of the Octarians. He's a dude. Here's the gist. So, this is a 5-phase boss fight. That's a big number. The goal in every single one of these phases is that these fists are going to be fired at me, and I have to knock him backwards by hitting the fist back at him. The rapid fire glitch helps immensely with this. it seems like an auto-scroller, and in some parts it can be. However, there's one major thing that I'm going to get into phase 2 here that'll make the fight very different. So I need to wait for this. This is the end of the phase. Once you knock Octavio back far enough, he'll summon this subwoofer, and I'm going to need to knock it back to him. So it's going to be like a game of tennis. It's going to destroy each of the fists on the machine, and then it's going to destroy the machine, and that's going to be the end of each phase. So I need to do this 5 times to beat the game. Once we get to this phase, we're going to have a neat little thing called fist cancels or fist delays. Whatever you like to call them, go for it. They're hard, and I don't know many of them, but here's what's about to go down. I'm going to try and take as long as I can, which I don't think I did successfully there, to get rid of a fist in a certain cycle. And if I do that and then try and immediately next fist that comes out when both fists come out at the same time, what will hopefully happen is that I will double the amount of knockback he takes from a single fist. I didn't do it perfectly in this fight right here, but that will save time a lot throughout phases 2 through 5 of the fight. Again, I'm not very good at it, so a lot of the time I tend to have to do full Octavio fights. However, like at top levels, this fight will go a lot faster with people who are a lot more consistent with fist kill delays, or fist skips, or whatever you want to call them. Also, this fight is notorious for killing bitrate. My bitrate is a part of that, so I'm very sorry if the stream gets a lot less watchable in this portion, especially during the final phase. But like this was very late in the Wii U lifespan. It came out like spring of 2015, so it was less than 2 years before the oh hey, I didn't even notice that fist was firing. It was less than 2 years before the launch of the Switch. It's pretty late in this console's lifespan, and it really went all out. I'm gonna take this Ingzuka here. Not for the fist. The fist you don't really need anything special for, but the subwoofer at the end of this phase, and Ingzuka is going to be incredibly good for, because its height range will allow me to hit the subwoofer before any of my weapons usually would be able to, and on top of that, you know, it will insta-hit the subwoofer instead of having to make me get all the way through, like, hitting it many times with the rapid-fire glitch, and even then still doesn't like to go, because it's a big fat meanie. You know, the huge. I should be about to do, what's it called here? Another subwoofer phase. That actually wasn't a horrible phase 3, I think. So yeah, you're gonna see it here. Once this guy stops firing the missiles and starts doing those little, like, balls that you see him firing out of his machine, those will spawn enemies if they land on the platform. So I'm trying my hardest to make sure that he doesn't get those on the... Especially in some phases, he'll spawn some super annoying enemies that I just don't want to deal with, so... That was definitely not a delay. It was a good try, though. So now I'm going to try and... I think this box... Nope, this box has more armor. I'll take more armor. Oh, hi. Enemies. Each phase usually has, like, a certain number of... Or, like, certain types of enemies to it. So, like, Octo Balls you'll see in this phase in particular. You saw some Octo Bombers last phase. Okay, that might be a delay. So the Ingzuka's up here. This is where I meant to get it. This is the last Ingzuka we're going to see in the fight, so I'm going to save it for the last phase of the fight, because we're currently on phase 4. There are 5 phases. Unlike the worlds, we can't skip phase 4, unfortunately. I would like to skip a lot of phases in this fight, but that's just not a thing. So I gotta keep going. We're getting closer, so it shouldn't be too much longer. Again, you'll know which phase is the last phase because the music is going to change my bit rate. It'll be great. We'll have a party. We'll celebrate. Someone's bringing cake. Please tell me someone's bringing cake. How are you going to have a party without cake? Okay, that was a phase. So, despite having a bazooka, I'm gonna save it right here. You're seeing this thing is actually getting a lot faster now, probably. You're probably able to tell this thing is getting a lot faster. It's very scary. But here, we're gonna have this DJ. We're gonna have the music change, finally. And we're gonna have this banger. I really like this moment because it slaps. But also, it's explained in the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion DLC that, like, this song literally changed the brainwaves of, like, millions of Octo wings, quite literally. So, that's pretty cool. Also, again, my bitrate is probably, like, dead. Which is less cool. So, this phase, these balls that he fires will summon Octo Troopers. So it's like more vital than ever that I'm gonna try not to get any enemy spawns on this phase because they kill me. Those Octo Troopers with the rapid fire shots, they are like the worst enemy in the game. So this is also the longest phase. It has the most amount of distance you have to move before making it to the subwoofer area. But time is right after this phase. So, nice. Almost done. There's some more armor we can get. I think I'm still full on armor. Yeah. Which I guess is good for dealing with these Octo Troopers. Especially because as we get to the end, you can probably see this platform in front of me that, like, the end of the fight takes place on is very narrow. So, getting stuff that we don't want on this platform is, like, really bad news. I'll throw a see-through here just to get some ink all around. It's a really good throw. Just a little farther, so I'm probably still going to need to one more set of fists before getting to the very end of the fight. By the looks of where he is on the platform, that seems to be true. Because he's edging a little bit too close to the platform to probably be about to throw a subwoofer. I don't have to worry about a delay at this point, though, because assuming I hit both fists, which I just did, we should be about to get into that last subwoofer phase. So, once I knock the subwoofer back into him 3 times right here, he's going to fall out of his mech, and I'm going to have to hit him in midair back into it. So time is going to be when he makes that collision with his mech. I'm going to use a burst bomb because that has more range than my... I messed up the subwoofer. But once that happens, the Octo Bomb, or the burst bomb, has more range than the hero shot that I'm using. So I'm going to try and use that for the last hit to save a little bit of time. Another major thing I have to watch out for is that giant laser that you've been fight. Narrow form, it is definitely not helpful. That's a killer whale, by the way. It's a special weapon in the main game, and time. There we go. That is DJ Octavio, and that is Splatoon. That was an actually pretty okay run, especially with how long it's been since I've played category. I will super take that. Because, you know, I was kind of prepping for all scrolls, and then that happened, so... I'm glad I didn't embarrass myself. To an extent. At least I don't think I embarrassed myself.
No, that was great. Good game.
What was my time, by the way? Because I'm not looking at the stream.
Time says 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 43 seconds.
Really? That's like... Okay. So, that's like less than a minute and a half off my peak. That's actually really good.
Oh, excellent run. Some of those jumps were giving me some nerve. Just, oh man.
Yeah, it's a game that you really, like... I like to think of it as a game that it's hard to get truly rusty in, because even if your movement isn't as good as it used to be, you still know about enough how the game works to where you can still be pretty confident even if you haven't played the game in a while. And it's a really fun game to run. Every game in the series is fun to run. This game and both of the single-player modes in the second game all have merit to them as fun speed games. So, good chances are you might have a Splatoon game already. These games are pretty popular, but if you ever want to run the game, do that. I highly encourage it. With that being said, though, that's all I have to say. So thanks. And
thank you very much. Appreciate the
good
run.
luck to whoever's next. And everyone else running in the event.